In this video, we're going to explore how we can use the synthetic data generation capabilities of enterprise test data so that you can generate realistic data that covers every scenario into your databases. Synthetic data generation allows you to create fictitious data that covers every user story, test case, and business requirement. Cover every scenario needed to ensure quality across your delivery lifecycle. You can ensure continuous data availability, and you can use this process to replace synthetic data in lower environments. We are going to go through 5 steps in this tutorial. The first one is we're going to connect to a database. We're then going to scan a database. We're going to create a definition. We're going to create and configure a data activity, which is going to perform the synthetic data routine. And then finally, we're going to generate some data in a form that can be exposed anywhere in your organization. Okay, so we are inside the Curiosity platform. We have enterprise test data here on the left-hand side. The first thing we're going to do is go to Data Dictionary, go to Databases, and we're going to set up a new database connection. To do that, we go to New Connection Profile, and we can give our connection a name here, which we're going to call Curiosity Bank. And this is a Postgres DB for an ATM application. Okay. Once we've done that, we can come into the Connection tab and we can select what type of database this is. Now here we're going to be dealing with Postgres, but if you have a different database type, this is where you can select it. We then need to give a host name, a port, and a database name. You can hone down into this and give a specific schema if you want to. We're just going to use a regular expression so that it picks up all the tables in our database. The final one we need to pick up is security. So for Postgres, we have to give a username and password, which is fine. So we'll submit that. Now, once I have all of this populated, it's good practice to go away and test the connection, which is what I'm going to do here next. We'll see that that connection has been populated successfully. And we've also got some logs down here just to let us know about the tables that this specific account we're using can connect into. So we're good with this, and we're going to click the OK button to save. Next, we're going to scan our database. And to do that, we're going to come into the database view and we're going to click Run Scan. Now we can do this natively if you can connect to your database from our cloud environment or wherever your instance is hosted. If not, and you're using one of our data agents, you're going to want to run that scan using this button here, where you can select the server to use to run the scan. But we'll see that this is scanned successfully. Let's come back. Let's do a refresh. And what we'll see now is we have our scan here, 3 schemas, 7 tables, 43 columns. And we can come in and we can flick through this and we can take a look at all the tables it's brought out. Now, the next step we want to do is register a definition. Now, a definition is a snapshot of that database at a point in time. And here we're going to go away and do that. So Curiosity Bank. We're going to click Next. We're going to select an existing connection that we've already just set up. We're going to use an existing scan we just performed. We could trigger a new scan if we haven't already. We're going to click the Finish button here, and that's going to create our definition. And we can go into this definition, take a look. What we will see here is it's got all of our different schemas, tables, everything embedded underneath here that we can take a look at. Now at this point, we can explore in here and we can start to populate out some metadata, like our descriptions of tables and everything. Or we can come in and we can start to view some diagrams to look at the structure of our database and how it all hangs together and what the foreign keys are and how everything is defined. So here we'll see we've got a few tables: ATMs, transactions, credit cards, accounts, customers, employees, and account holders, and we'll see the connections between them, how they are all linked. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our activity. 2 ways of doing this. We could go through the dashboard or we can go into our Activity Explorer. We're actually going to go into the Explorer here, and we'll see we've got a folder structure that we can create. We're going to go into our Data Activities folder. We're going to create a new one called Data Generation. And this is going to be for creating employees. So we'll hit Next and we'll create the activity and we'll go to it and open it up. Now, the first thing we need to do inside our activity is we need to attach the database connection. So we're going to connect to our Curiosity Bank connector. We then need to attach our definition. So we're going to attach the Curiosity Bank definition here. Now, once we have that, we're going to go away and we're going to create a rule set. Now, a rule set contains inside it all the rules for generating data into the tables we want to. Now, for us, we're going to be creating bank employees. So a rule set for creating bank employees, and that's fine. We can configure this so we can select specific tables and IDs and how they're ordered. This is going to be a very simple generation just to start off with. So we're going to go into the employees table without that in here. Now we have to create a model of the definition before we can get going. So we're just going to hit this button here to go and generate our model definition, and we'll just wait for that to complete. And that's finished. We can click OK and create our definition, and we'll see we have that here. Now let's open up this rule set and let's take a look. What we'll see is that actually we've just got the one table in here that we selected, which is our employees. And if we open that up, this is where we can embed our synthetic data generation routines for each column that we have. Now we're going to parameterize up some of these. Okay, but firstly, we're going to embed a data generation function for the first name. Okay, now if I come in here and I look, you'll see that we've got a function for first name that I can click. Okay, if I hit the preview button on this, every time it comes back with a new first name, in this case, a female first name, and that goes away. Now this is great because that means that in this column, we're going to embed a synthetic data generation function. Now we can be quite expressive in here. We can use VB language to go away and actually do some advanced calculations, but we're going to be doing something quite simple here. The two that are remaining are the last name and the email. Now we're going to use user-defined parameters for this. Okay, so we're going to create a parameter called the last name that we're going to embed at runtime. Okay, I'm going to put my last name in here. Okay. And we're also going to embed the email parameter in here as well. Okay. So let's give that a default as so. Once we have these parameters, we can utilize them in the rule set. So in here, I can come in and I can select my user-defined parameters. Here we're editing the last name. So we're going to use our last name parameter. And then for the email, we are going to push in our email parameter in here that we've just created. Now we'll embed another synthetic generation for the phone number. So we'll just take a phone number. We can obviously give some further clarification over the format, but that's fine for us. We'll hit OK. We're actually going to ignore the next two, the job title and the hire date. So we'll just disable these. We can come through and we can populate these if we want to, but if there's columns you want to ignore in your generation, you can just turn them off, and you'll see the ID field here is turned off as well, because that's going to be populated by default. Once we are happy, the next best thing to do is to come in and run a validate and preview. What this will do is it will go off and run our routine and come back with the results so we can preview how a sample generation would look. We'll see this is complete, and basically employee ID, first name, last name, phone number, the hire date and the job title were ignored. And this is a sample row that we have what our data could look like inside the database we're going to populate. Now, the next thing we want to do is rebuild our flow on the server. And this is basically just going to create a routine for us that will go away and execute our synthetic activity that we're producing. And what we'll see is that that is complete. One flow is created with no errors, which is very good. We come back and refresh now, we'll see we've got a VIP flow attached here. The next step we can do is we can come in and we can create a data generation submit form. Now we can give this various names and we can configure it appropriately. We're going to hit execute here. This is going to create a submit form that anyone can use in my organization to create data with the parameters I've specified. See, that's complete. We come back up again here, we'll see we now have a server process specified. Now what I'm going to do next is come over to our SQL executor, and we can basically browse through. What we'll see here is we have 148 employees specified at the moment. Now, if we execute the form here, what we'll see is that we can come in and we can specify the connection. We can specify a last name and an email. So let's give a different last name here, and let's give a different email, and let's hit execute on this. This is going to go away and take our parameters we've given and generate the data. See, one record has been created. Let's come back into our database here. We'll see we've got a new row added, and this row has our data in that's been populated from our form. And we can be much more expressive in here. We can give lots of different values. We can even specify a number of rows of data to go away and generate as well. So this is how we can set up a data generation routine to go into a database, and then we can provide that as a form, which can then either be used by teams in a way to self-service creating data, or we can come in and we can embed that form inside other server processes, inside CI/CD, or inside your own intranet and web pages. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to learn more, visit www.curiositysoftware.ie today.